Huh? You're gonna do the thing?
Oh my gosh, dude! We got Geoff May in the house. This is awesome. Really stoked.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Welcome back, Ricky Bobby. What have you been up to, man? Because I know that last minute you had to bail last time.
Yeah.
Like, what, your Taco Bell internet bills paid up or what?
Yeah. No, I really appreciate everybody checking on me. Everything's good. So yeah, down in Hilton Head, back at the in-laws' house. I definitely do not have moonshine this time, so we're good.
What do you got in there now?
Just some hydration drink. That's it. Been running. I'm running here. I'm enjoying being in Moss Creek and running my face off and trying to get in shape. Got that fitness race that Ginny and I are going to race in December in Anaheim. Wow. So your birthday weekend. So
look at that.
Yeah. And had a blast at the track day and didn't get to talk about that, but we had a lot of fun at Roebling. I know Andrew Troxel's in the chat. He was there. And we had a bunch of other Cody Krieger. He showed up, and Jake Sutter, two of the guys that are in the our weekend hangover MotoGP Fantasy League. Nice. So that was awesome.
Dude, I'm gonna admit that I haven't even looked at the Fantasy League, dude. I can't do it, dude. I'm just
your day job,
but I'm like, bro.
Your day job is now videos. You're a video content creator. So
you know what, man? I'm having a good time with that. Like the Crewman 37 thing is like a goof. Yeah. But it's like I'm giving people an inside look at what's going on in the race weekend and talking to other people too, to try to, and not just talking to the usual suspects and not talk about the normal stuff, but I've gotten a lot of pretty funny feedback on it. Like people are like, dude, I can't believe Richard's letting you, like, he's okay with you being in the way.
Because when you're actually in the way, Richard's gonna push you out.
Oh, totally. Oh, he's not gonna push me down. He's gonna like shove me down, like shove me out of the way, right? Like, move. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Like I'm gonna try doing some more of that stuff this year, and maybe I'll make like a little video like that every one. Next one's Road Atlanta, right?
Yes, and I am locked in for Road Atlanta. Got my daughter coming with me, my 9-year-old daughter Zoe. She's gonna come and enjoy it. She said she wanted to go, so we're definitely gonna like split the time up between vlogging and interviewing and hanging out with Dustin and then
driving around my dad's golf cart that he
ran and then
like $600.
Her and I are gonna go off and do daddy-daughter things. So I think we're gonna watch some racing and stuff like that. So I think it'll be a blast.
Dude, it's crazy that when you go to Road Atlanta, the cost of that stupid golf cart is more than the rental car.
Yeah, bad,
right?
So, speaking of Road Atlanta, we got the man himself, Mr. Road Atlanta, right here.
Yeah.
So, Geoff,
once or twice.
Yeah.
Do you refer to Road Atlanta, because I've heard it a bunch, as Arm Pump City?
A lot of guys have problems with it. It's unassuming, but it'll sneak up on you quick there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been that way, especially on the big bike. Not so much on the little bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the switchbacks. It's the pulling, and VIR can do the same thing when you're transitioning the bike and trying to hold it wide open.
Is there like a spot that's like your jam? Like that's you're gonna make the pass. That's like your favorite spot.
They took it away. It used to, this will date me, but it used to be Old Turn 12 when we used to go through their balls out, and all the guys that came from the West Coast, man, it just scared the hell out of them. They couldn't get through 12 very good.
Huh.
Pass them on the inside, pass them on the outside.
You said all the guys from the West Coast?
Yeah, man, they got there.
Why do I feel attacked right now? Right?
There's the thing, man, because they didn't see it but once a year, right? So, and maybe it was their first time, and it's kind of like sometimes you see guys from overseas come to Daytona, and the banking can kind of wig them out a little bit for a little while.
Right.
That's the uniqueness of it, right? You don't really get that anywhere else, but they took that away. I've always been super strong at the top of the hill in the little switchback where people hit the dirt. Kind of figured a thing or two out a long time ago there, and you can gap somebody by half a second in that tiny little spot.
Really?
Yeah, from the breaking point to where you start going left and on the power again, you can gain about half a second.
So,
if you got arm pump, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It looked like last year.
I tried to listen to what Geoff was saying about when you go through there, and he's like, "You gotta do this, you gotta do that," and I tried. I'm like, "No, not happening. I just not committed yet. Can't
You're
do
like,
it."
just a heads up. Can you teach me how to like not be a pussy? Like that.
Yeah, every time he's like, "Yeah, we're coming out of 12. You just whack the throttle."
Right. Yeah.
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 I
There's
used
no
to.
teaching that, huh?
I figured out it's an odd thing that not many people know about, and kind of old school before we had traction control. You could go in there, flick the bike on its right, where you see a lot of guys cutting the curb, but you could whack the thing full throttle and almost intentionally high side the bike, which would make it flick. It flipped direction twice as fast by intentionally high siding the bike. But
oh wow! Intentionally high siding the bike. Yeah, that sounds like a great time, Geoff.
Hey man, you gotta go next level.
Sell it to me more, dude.
It'll flick really quick.
Man,
I think that's a t-shirt. That's gotta be a t-shirt.
Dude, I did reach out to Jason Medema, the
Mad
Hammer Time or whatever.
Yeah, Mad Hammer.
I sent him a bunch of t-shirt ideas, so we'll see if he could come up with some cool designs for that.
He's done.
Medema is hilarious
on purpose.
Yeah,
I on purpose, dude. I had one where it was like Stefano Mesa when I had him on the show one time. He's like, "Hey, sometimes you just gotta like knock somebody down."
I've never seen him knock anyone down.
He goes, "Sometimes you gotta get aggressive and knock somebody down or whatever, or take somebody out." I was like, "Wow, bro." So, yeah. So we're going to talk about GP stuff and World Superbike. You raced in World Superbike, didn't you?
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to have a year as a factory rider for EBR in 2014. And it was short-lived. I ended up, EBR went out of business, and that we got wind of it at the last race that things were kind of going sideways and going down, and that it wasn't going to be a multiple-year deal like it was supposed to be. And, I tell people it was the coolest thing I've ever done, and it was the most awful thing I've ever done at the same time. It was very polarizing, because when you get to that level, you don't want to be in the back. And
right,
we were just outgunned. There was nothing we could do about it. It was just, we were a day late, a buck short. The development of the engine wasn't there, and it was like bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Right, right.
But
well, it looks
really
like
cool.
What you just described is kind of looking like what Moto, Kawasaki, and Yamaha and Honda have been doing in World Superbike the last few years. They're bringing knives to gunfights, and I don't know what's been going on with the musical chair shit happening with the rules, but it seems like some of the bikes are getting some concessions because the Hondas are getting closer to the front. The Yamahas took a win last weekend. One of them did anyway. So, they were throwing the term around super concessions, whatever the fuck that means. But what do you think about that stuff?
I think it's good for the guys that kind of truly need it. Like, we had a similar situation. We were just way down on horsepower, and those tracks are way bigger than the U.S. tracks. I mean, think of Road America, right? With these long straightaways where you're really using a lot of fourth and fifth, sixth gear.
Yeah.
And if you're down, 20, 30 horsepower, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. You can't make it up on the brakes. That's it. So in that instance, I agree with it, to kind of help someone out, because these manufacturers may be in different cycles of their production, right? Like we've seen in the past where the Honda was really slow, and now it's really fast.
Yeah, even in stock form, it's shockingly fast.
But it took them probably 12 years to get it that way,
right?
And finally they put into production.
Some could say closer to 20.
Yeah,
right. I mean, let's just be honest, Geoff. Right? It's probably closer to 20, right? Like,
I mean,
when's the last time a Honda Superbike won a race?
I say 09.
Yeah. 09?
09.
The Ben Spies year? Sure about that?
Oh, Johnny Ray. Johnny Ray won at He did the double at like Imola or something like that.
Johnny Ray did it in 2014 when I was. I think he won maybe as many as 4.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking AMA.
But it's been a minute.
Oh yeah.
It's been a minute, right?
AMA Superbike. I think it was Jake Zemke maybe in like 09, someone like Miller.
Yeah, 08 or 09. The Honda guys, you know, Hayden Gillum and JD, they were operating out of that old semi tractor trailer, and it's so cool. Like you go in there, it's like a time capsule got opened.
That's
like you look any minute, and Miguel's gonna come out of there. You know, I mean, it's like that, bro. Like it's like you keep looking for Miguel to come out, and he's not coming out, dude. He's still 30, right?
38, right? I think he was 38.
Yeah, 29. He was like 35 for like 10 years or something, right?
So
you think I could get away with that now that I'm on the backside of it?
Yeah, Talent Cup, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
Twins.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, you should come out on a R7 or a 660 or whatever.
Yeah, 660. No, what was it? JD found the unopened copy of American Pie.
Yeah.
Dude, they had VHS.
No, the American Pie is on DVD unopened, but Blazing Saddles is on VHS in there.
That transition happened fast. Like I remember it because we used to have a hauler back in 03, 04 for a little bit that we were hauling around, and it had a VHS. Like that was what we were doing. The iPhone didn't exist. We were still using a paper freaking atlas to navigate going to AMA races.
Yeah,
you know, you had to make sure, like, because the thing was tall, like you didn't get on the wrong road where you couldn't get into the bridge.
Totally.
There was no information, man. We were just winging it.
Yeah,
fast though, man. I don't know.
You print your MapQuest map out and hope it works out.
Oh yeah, dude. If you're a baller, you had a one of those like map GPS.
Oh yeah. Tom. The Tom.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay. Wow, dude.
Because those were like $250. We're like, we're not spending that. Just go buy a map.
That's tire money.
That's like a rear tire almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, 2 chains, gas, whatever.
Yeah, right.
Food for everybody for the weekend.
Yeah. John Wright saying it's the Magellan. Remember the Magellan?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty rad to see that. But in World Superbike, the last year the BMWs got like a super concession frame, and Top Rack went and just smashed everybody after that, and you could see it. You could see it look like he's just struggling on the brakes. That guy. I don't know if you've seen those videos when he was on Yamaha, but like he was pretty regular, like above 20 bar brake pressure. Like he's the guy that twists up the frame on the brakes. So
he can't feel the front end.
Yeah, so he doesn't have that ability this season. So, and I know they took that concessions frame away, and so he's having to run like the standard frame, I guess. Could that be that? That
could be easy, man. I mean, that easily could be it for a rider. When something like that changes that you're used to and dialed in on,
right?
It could be half a second, and you're trying to ride around it instead of being, aggressive and getting after it. You're having to be a little tentative because you don't know, you don't have the same feel of where that limitation is.
Yeah,
and if you mess with it, it's going to put you on the ground.
Right.
You got to back it off. I had a similar issue on the other end of the bike back in 2014 with the swing arm, where unbeknownst to my guys changed the swing arm. I don't know why. They just decided, this one had scratches on it or something. They changed the swing arm, and I was off half second everywhere. And we couldn't figure it out. And I was like, did you change the swing arm? This one looks different. I'm like, yeah, we changed the swing arm. I'm like, why'd you do that? I don't know. It had scratches on it. I figured we'd change it. We got plenty of them. And put the other swing arm on, bang. Half a second was right back where
it's because you crashed it and it made it, made it work better.
No, it wasn't crushed. It was slightly different. It was the way they did the axle blocks on the back. So it was more rigid, and it had quantifiable more bite out of the tire. Yeah. I could carry more corner speed. I could get on the gas earlier. You could see it on the data, and it was just a better swing arm. So I could see a frame being even a bigger factor just from front end feel
Right.
That's even more important. And that's, like you just said, top rack, man, he could just send it off in there.
Yeah.
And if he's having to be a little bit tentative, well, there goes, a big piece of the way he rides.
The pointy end of World Superbike is just so gnarly. I mean, you've got Top Rack, you've got Bulaga, you got Locatelli, and then the rest, basically.
Yeah.
And every now and then, Bulaga, the rest could be Bautista, the rest could be, that Honda dude, Viehi or whatever, and Lecuona or whatever.
Lecuona.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, Eker.
That dude.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like the pointy end is so tippy top, like gnarly on the ragged edge. I mean, there's that corner that those guys were going out of. It's a right-hander onto a pretty fast straightaway, and they'd come out of the thing, both wheels drifting all the way out into the paint. I'm just like, every lap they did that, and it's like, was it 22 laps or something crazy? Like, damn, like how are they riding on that ragged edge for so long? And if you look, Top Rack couldn't. He was like 2 seconds back per lap.
The front end feel there is really important. Yeah. That's a track where the bike has got to turn, so you can, and on the throttle it's got to turn. So if you're struggling with the thing turning at all and having front end feel. Plus, what TV doesn't do justice, right? So everybody's watching this through TV.
Yeah.
The Asen TT track is fucking fast. Like, you can't get it on TV how quick it really is unless you ride it. Like,
right.
You guys have been to Roebling, right? Ricky Bobby, I know you.
Well, he has.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a West Coast guy, dude.
So imagine,
I've been to Willow. So
every turn there's like turn 3 and turn 9, and they link together.
Oh, geez.
Right.
Or faster.
Yeah.
There's nothing there that's slow. So I mean, you're full on sending it.
Yeah.
I think it's turn 4 is that slow left-hander, and then it just starts spooling back up again.
Right. I mean, they're turning. It looks like they're turning on the gas, like, top of third.
What was that one where they go through and they hit it's almost like they hit a dip, and then they're just sliding the bike sideways to the left.
Oh, dude,
just going through there.
So nuts.
It's kind of more of a compression.
The cathedral of speed is what Righty is calling it in the comments.
Oh yeah, that's
Asen. Yeah,
that's it. As far as the pointy end, it's Bulaga. He's it.
I mean, Bulaga is a class above everybody right now. He's got the points lead by a lot, even after 2 DNFs last weekend.
Yeah,
but
it's crazy.
How does a factory Superbike team have 2 DNFs on the same rider in one weekend?
She's back.
Oh shit. Back.
Oh, dude, boy. AKA Mrs. Hobgood.
Is she
Hobgood?
Like, is she? I don't know if she's gonna have to pay. Is she gonna have to pay out money this season? Are people taking her up this season on the bet?
Well, no, because she probably didn't make any bets knowing, and she just kind of
right.
So Danny's been betting dudes last year about Marquez not winning, and she was getting paid out pretty good.
$100 a weekend. In the comments, she's saying she tried to bet on Coda. Nobody would take her up on that because they know it's like people know it's not a good bet. But and then nobody's gonna, I'm sure nobody's gonna take nobody. She's not gonna bet anybody on any other weekend this season. Maybe.
Yeah.
She said nobody wants to play.
Well, it's good for her then.
Yeah. I mean, and there was like a $500 bet for the championship too, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure that one's still on the table.
Yeah. So anyways, the Ducati, how the hell did that happen? They just 2 mechanicals. That's insane.
Yeah.
And Bautista can't get it going. Bautista is not getting that thing going.
And he hasn't since they added the weight last year, right? And he was injured and stuff like that. But he hasn't been he used to be able to go out and just ruin everybody, and now he's barely hanging on. So
definitely changing of the guard. I don't think he's going to be in that seat much longer after Bulaga's been.
Yeah, he's ruining. Miguel, right? He's like the World Superbike Miguel. He's old. Yeah. He's the old guy on the grid now, right?
Yep.
Well, him and Johnny Ray, but Johnny Ray's been out.
Yeah.
Is he? Do you guys think he's going to come back?
He's gonna come back, but he ain't gonna be the same, man. That bike wrecked him like twice.
Yeah. Geoff, do you know anything about this? I mean, you know Johnny Ray.
Phillip Island. Yeah, I mean, I actually got to hang out with him quite a bit when we were over there. He's a super cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, super down to earth, cool dude. Him and Leon Haslam were teammates that year. And they were,
okay.
The families would all hang out. I mean, it'd be like being at a Wera race. It was pretty surreal.
Like a Wera race. I've heard that about World Superbike paddock.
Families hanging out, getting pizza together, kids running around all over the place. You know, it was pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, I think for him, it's a big adjustment to the Yamaha period, just from being on the Cowie for so long,
right?
And trying to find the feel or get out of the motorcycle what he wants. You know, he has a pretty distinct riding style. You know, maybe with the super concessions, or if they're getting concessions now, that could help him give a little spark.
Yeah, the thing I was reading before we went live, it was Denning talking about how they're using a modified chassis of some sort. I didn't see anything in there about engine stuff. I asked Stamboli yesterday about that because we were going to do the show tonight, and he was like, "I don't know. I don't have time to know what they're doing." Right? So he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm kind of busy here, so yeah,
I got bikes to prep. Yeah, it just seems like Locatelli was riding the wheels off of that Yamaha, and it's like,
dude, he has been all season though already, right?
Yeah.
Like every round, Locatelli's sending it. Like he looked like he was on pace to get one at some point. You know, if he could just get in there and get a sniff, and he got that sniff last weekend. So
yeah, and I mean, it seemed like Asen wasn't necessarily a major horsepower track. You just had to have your bike and power delivery dialed so you can just keep accelerating as the track kind of sped up.
Momentum. I mean, as long as Villegas keeps breaking down.
Yeah, that too.
I mean,
it's not a place where you can point and shoot the bike like a lot of the other tracks where you could, you know, you could see it with the guys with high horsepower. They could just kind of park it, turn it, pick it up. There, you got to carry. It's all about momentum.
Yeah.
And whoever's bike's turning better and still gripping and driving forward while turning, it's going to make it.
Yeah. And, you know, World Superbike was, World Supersport, I should say, was pretty, it was just as competitive now. Like it's such a, like, you don't know who's going to be the winner. Like you just don't. It's so great.
Yeah. The Triumph boys didn't have as good of a weekend, but
he was still there though.
He was right there. And then you got
whatever. That dude is ripping.
The MV Agusta was on the box twice.
It's like the year of the triples.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Weird, right?
It is the year of the triples.
Because there's three of them, right? The MV Agusta, the Triumph, and the Yamaha.
And the R9, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all dominating, and the Cowie's still stuck. So
yeah, it's gonna have a hard time. What do you do for the Cowie? You know, there's a big difference in torque between a big triple and a inline 4 600cc bike, or
636 now, right?
Yeah, they finally got to use the new bike.
Yeah,
it's not enough.
No, the 36cc is probably not enough. But in World Supersport trim, maybe,
even with the Pirelli tires, I just don't think it's got the chassis to do it.
No,
it's too far behind. Too long in the tooth, man. They haven't changed that chassis in forever.
It's the 08 Honda.
Right.
And it's had chatter since 08,
Yeah. 07 Honda.
Yeah.
Dude, we were talking about the Willow Springs new owners, and there's been all kinds of hate on that. And I can remember a guy at one of our track days a million years ago. He had picked up a brand new Honda 600 on Friday, and our track day was on Saturday. He goes and stacks the thing in turn 9. Just writes it off, right?
Oh.
We send the ambulance out there because the dude wasn't moving. He was on the ground, not moving. They send the ambo out there, and he wasn't injured or anything. He was out there crying.
Oh, the poor guy. That poor guy.
Like, I'll never forget that, dude. Like, anyway, so
his wife was going to chop his nuts off.
Yeah.
His riding days were over.
So, have you guys heard anything about that Willow Springs stuff?
I saw it in the news that it was sold.
Yeah.
To a private equity group.
Private equity, but then they've named like the Singer people, the ones that do the really pimped out Porsches that people pay like $1 million.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Singer's involved in that.
So
it's like, okay.
It's got life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, there was a lot of naysayers on the internet talking about being worried. I have some friends even, they're like, "Oh man, we gotta ride at streets before we're never gonna to ride there again." And a buddy of mine reached out to them and was like, "Hey, are you guys gonna be in for motorbikes?" And they're like, "Yeah." So who knows? Maybe I'll do events there again.
Dude, that would be
there one time and never went back, Dustin.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the Willow 200.
Oh, you were at the 200.
I did the Willow 200 in 2002.
Okay.
And
that was the only time you went there?
That was the only time I went there, man. I was following the FUSA schedule, and we were up in Portland. I'm like, well, hey man, let's go from Portland down to the 200 because that purse was so big.
Yeah.
And I just
it's a Loudon Classic now, right?
Yeah. I just remember how dry it was, man. I'm not a desert rat. It's so dry. I'm a southern boy, man. I need humidity. And I just wanted to get out of that place.
Yeah, it's hot out there, dude.
I had a guy, like everybody's telling me, like, you don't crash in turn 8 or 9 at Willow. You don't crash in turn 8, turn 9 at Willow. Yeah. And they're like, watch out for the dust devils. I'm like, what the fuck is a dust devil? And they're like, well,
you'll know it when you see it.
It's like a tornado, but it's dust. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay, cool. So in the middle of the race, it was either race or qualifying. I can't remember. It had to be the race. So in the race, we go rolling off into turn 8, and I see this dust devil coming from the left side. I'm like, oh shit, here it comes. It's coming. It's coming. And the guy, it was like 4 of us stacked up in line. The guy in front made it through. The guy right in front of me, it literally crossed in front of me and wiped him out in turn 8. It took him off his bike.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, oh my God, did that just happen? Don't
like Willow was definitely not for the faint of heart. Like, you're on the stop in 6th gear going through 8, that's different.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
Man.
Knee down in 6th gear. That's different.
It's different, man. And
that's not how Roebling is. Like, that's how I imagine Roebling is. You guys aren't in 6th gear with your knee on the ground there?
4th. Mm-hmm. It's 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's slower. It's probably good. It's tighter. It doesn't open up the same way that Willow does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's good for the sport if some people come in and fix it. If those Singer guys, they do. I mean, the place needs a massive amount of work. The previous people that lived there, they were living there. So, and they were on meth. So, like, whatever, kick the meth heads out. Like, let's fix the place and make it nice.
So let's move on to GP.
Yeah. Okay.
The Moto2 race was awesome.
Was it?
Yeah, dude, because the top 7 guys were all together the whole time.
I watched MotoGP and that was it. I was like, okay.
The Moto2 race, Jake Dixon, it was a heartbreaker. But Aaron Canet coming back from 14th after bogging the start, from 3rd back to 14th and made it back up and won the race like wild. So that was a big one, and he took over the points lead, which who
he hasn't had that in a minute, right?
No,
like he's been Nowhereville for a minute. So maybe do you think it's him just kind of getting used to the Pirellis, or
No, I think it's just consistency. I mean, he was good last year. It's just one of those things. Like he needs to be consistent, and he's been doing so.
Right.
Yeah. Who thought MS13 was going to be at the front of the championship?
I know, right? Mr. Neck Tattoos.
Mr. All like.
Yeah, dude. He's got it looks like he's got a neck beard, but it's just tattoos.
It's just all tats, man. MS13, dude.
Crazy.
He's just all there. So that was a big one. And then, Manu Gonzalez kind of there. He got on the box, but he was struggling the whole race. So, it was Daniel Holgado is, the rookie, and he was right there. So it was good to see those guys up front, and, bummer for Jake Dixon, because I'm a big fan of that dude.
And Roberts?
Joe Roberts was like 16th.
Yeah.
So still a wrist.
Right? The wrist is still jacked up?
I mean, it's got to be. What do you? I mean, that wrist he had, was it a scaphoid? It was a big wrist injury, and I know that riding that Moto2 bike's got to be
I think riding anything is, you know, with the bad wrist is not stellar. I mean, look at Motor America with Cam Peterson, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, he's got the special wrist that, man, like he was walking around after Sunday morning's warm up crash, not in the most stoked mood, you know.
Well, and then there was the Sunday race crash where his hand got mangled.
Oh, was it in the race or was it?
It was in the race.
It was in the race, yeah.
Yeah, because he skidded off the tunnel turn and the bike went straight, and he got underneath it, and it's all.
Yeah, like I mean, he was walking around with that wrap on his arm with his thumb kind of sticking upright, and you know, yeah, that's tough. You know,
it's been
and he's got that special like delete the row of bones mod, right? Like, you know, like that row of bones is missing, right? They had him take him out, so
they died probably.
Yeah, well, dude, before they took it out, like he showed us the X-ray when he was still riding for our team, and it looked like solid white. The skateboard looks solid white in the X-ray, dude. Like, you know, dead. So, ticking time bomb in there, man, sucks. You know.
Yeah. So and then the Grand Prix. I mean,
yeah. I mean, you know, obviously the the sprint race. You know.
Yeah, the sprint race was good. Yeah, but the main one was, I think, Maverick Vinales was the biggest surprise of the weekend.
Oh yeah, that dude has this ability to look good sometimes.
Yeah,
you know,
he'll
pretty rare. It's pretty rare, but when he's on, you know.
Yeah.
So
some guys are like that. They're more particular with the setup. You know, they have a harder time riding around it, but when it's right, they're going to be at the front.
Yeah, and I guess there was a penalty.
Yeah.
What was this penalty about?
It was low tire pressure.
Oh, that's right, the tire pressure shit.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she's not running the upside down pineapple wheels, dude. I mean,
right? I don't know if he had a white wheel or not.
I don't think he did.
That was Nate Kern's joke. Was white wheels equals upside down pineapple in front of your house. So they
right.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta have fun with it, right?
White wheels back in the early 2000s. It was all about white.
That's because you're a Gixxer guy, dude. All the Gixxer guys had white wheels. Like, come on, dude. Like every Gixxer guy on the grid had white wheels.
Yeah, it came that way, man.
Well, not the Marchesinis that people were running.
Most of the Marchesinis were sold in either they were white or they were gold.
Yeah.
They didn't have black wheels back then.
Well, the JB Power were the black ones, right?
That was a little later. That was like mid 2000s. And then the switch started. You started seeing a lot more black wheels.
Yeah. I mean, the Gixxers, you know, that's like the white wheel clan, dude. Like,
Dustin, you've held one of those, right? A JB Mag-10?
Of course.
Magnesium wheel. That thing's like
weighs
like
nothing.
A diamond, dude. That thing is sexy.
Yeah, there was always Dennis Smith, the old Dunlop guy here at Willow, used to go and he would take people's cracked wheels because they would generally crack, like not within a season they would crack, and they would all crack in the same spot, right on the rear on the hub, right? So they would use those just to demo the tires out in their little clamps. They'd put the slicks out there with that wheel on there. I was like, oh man, you're running this pimp wheel just for the display? No, this wheel's trash. Right?
Oh yeah.
So funny.
So I'm hesitant to say that I'm not expecting Mark to just run away with things, but his solid, consistent front running performance is making it really hard for everybody else. And we all knew that if he got on the right bike and he was healthy, he was going to do Mark things. I do appreciate his brother throwing it in on him and trying. Yeah. I was like, that was big balls.
There was like busted wings everywhere.
Yeah, it was awesome. Because it was finally like, dude, they're in to rough him up. And we're just like, holy crap. You're just watching the race. And Morbidelli comes all the way around on the outside on turn one. And everybody's just like, oh, this is awesome. So
yeah,
I appreciated it just for the spectacle of everything.
I think it's been great. I mean, I think that you know, a fan of the dude or not, like the Marquez guy is like on another level. Like he has like that just little extra like 5% that nobody else has, and all those other guys are gonna have to figure it out. I mean, look at his teammate, world champion guy, and former world champion now. But dude, he looks like he's not even in the same zip code. All of a sudden, same bike, same team. Like, did they put the wall up, or it's just Marquez has the ability to push it farther?
It's a little everything.
Yeah. Chunky Bun says he's an alien.
Yeah. I mean, he was coming up through the aliens with Lorenzo and Pedrosa and Rossi, and he was schooled by the best the planet's seen. These other guys weren't. They weren't there for that. So that makes it different. That's one thing, and then also that now that he's there, the A rider typically from back in the day, from what I've seen on teams, the A rider is the direction that pushes the development a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And that may be slightly off of what Pecco's used to or what he liked. Maybe he was in a slightly different direction on the bike or on a setting. And it only takes a couple little things and then you're off. Like we were talking about with Top Rack and the frame. Like if something starts to go just a little bit the wrong way and this dude loves it and this dude doesn't because they ride differently.
Right.
Riders ride differently. It's a fact. Based on their background, how they came up. Dirt trackers ride totally different than dudes that only road race. And, so you can see those small differences start to turn into larger differences, and they're going to run with Marquez because, look what he's doing.
Right. Trevor Watson says maybe he's getting the good Michelins. Right? Like, do you remember that back in the day? GP is like, oh, yeah, they'd go out the first day of practice or whatever, run the bikes, and then Michelin would they would make them tires and bring them in the next morning. So
about tank making
his comments about the tank making a difference.
Oh, because the tank shape. We're back to the Lorenzo discussion where the tank shape makes everything
huge.
Yeah.
Let's think about it in car racing terms, right? Car racing is all about where you weight, right? With a motorcycle road racer, we are the weight. We are what changes the CG, the center of gravity. We're dynamic. We're dynamic weight moving around, and each rider rides differently. So where they put that weight and how they put that weight affects the chassis. And there's certain guys like the weight to go a different way, like how you weight the front end, how you transition the weight, which a motorcycle has to transfer the weight to the front tire to turn. Right. So if a guy's not comfortable and it's not transitioning the weight the way and how he likes it, it's tough. I had an instance with that on the EBR where they redesigned the subframe for me for the seat part because of where I was, and it was forcing me forward. Some guys like to be forced forward. Some guys like to move around all over the bike, and I couldn't ride it the way it came stock because it had too much angle, which forced more weight on my hands. And I don't use a lot of weight on my hands, and I couldn't ride it. So we dropped the thing flat so I could move forward and aft on the bike, and it was a game changer. Made the motorcycle mine.
Yeah, it's crazy hearing that because I've seen riders over the years, been camping out at the attack shop for years, right? And so like the riders there's always riders, I can remember some of the riders spent a lot of time focusing on the seat and, building up that ramping system thing that would cram them into the tank. And then there's other riders that want the thing on the tank to push them further back,
Yep. Get the weight
like everybody kind of has their different vibe, and like you said, some of them are dirt trackers, some of them aren't, seems like the dirt tracker guys might be a little less picky.
They're more dynamic. They're used to adapting, right? Because they're always adapting every lap.
Right.
And then you have the team dynamic, right? Like there's some teams that are like, no, ride it the way it is. Like Dude Man was winning all last year on this thing. It's good. Like you need to prove yourself. And then there's other teams where
what teams? What teams?
Come on, bro. I'm tired. I haven't been paying attention. But yeah,
Like,
I
come
mean,
on, spill the old tea then. Rotten tea.
when
Spill
I
the
showed
rotten
up,
tea.
when I finally got the big ride at Michael Jordan, they're like, "Hey, ride the bike the way it is."
Okay.
It's good enough. You need to go out there and get the results. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. I like what I like, and I've been doing this long enough to know what I like and what makes me fast. And so there was an adjustment. It ended up taking me, I want to say 3 rounds before I could kind of get the bike to where I wanted it. And then I started winning some races and putting the bike on pole. But I was, half second off back in third.
Did that team test and stuff in the off season?
Back then we didn't test as much because it was highly expensive. It was always the typical Daytona test. And then you try to sneak in a test.
That one at Laguna, the one at Daytona, and then that was it.
That was it. And then if you were, they banned the factory guys from testing on Thursday. They used to always have a track day on Thursdays, and we could test. And then I think somewhere in the mid 2000s, they said no more. Like, you guys already get to test, and then you do this too. It's too much.
Right.
So
yeah, because I mean, just on the experience of that attack team, those guys are really busting their asses to give the riders what they want, and they're trying to, number one, they're trying to bring the bikes to the rider quite a bit more, but then at the same time the rider gets to take advantage of all the experience with the bike and kind of bring the bike, come to the bike a bit too, because it's like, like the last Moto America round, right? Like, Bobby Fong's not traditionally known as being like the best dude in the wet, right? But then last weekend, all of a sudden, first weekend on the new bike with the team, and he's right there in the wet. So
the guys know stuff, right?
Right.
This works in the wet.
Yeah.
You can go back in time and look at Johnny Ray had that on that Honda back in 2014. If it was wet, that dude was winning. But
100%.
You could look at the bike and see that it had crazy geometry that would not work unless it was in the wet. But they had it figured out.
With the perfect rain setup.
Yeah, they got the perfect rain setup.
Right.
It's all part of the evolution of the team and the testing and the rider and the crew and how long you can keep all these guys together to all gel together.
Yeah.
The farther down the road you get.
Well, I know there was something in the reporting where Pecco was talking about how his relationship with Mark was good, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. A lot of times it has nothing to do with the relationship with the even, like, they could all be great, but the A rider gets all the attention, or the majority of the attention. They're going to pick a direction.
Well, also, I mean, could it be that Pecco's won some championships already, and Marquez still has a chip on his shoulder from not winning in so long? He's hungrier, maybe. I mean,
hungrier, man. I mean,
could it be as simple as that?
Into it. I think Pecco, the little bit of racing I have watched this year, I haven't watched a lot, but when I've watched him, he looks off. He doesn't look like the same guy as last year. And I think it's that little bit, man, of trust in the front end or something. I heard a comment that he did make a comment about not having the grip this year. He didn't have the same bite and the same grip. So something's different for him.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of usually starts soft and then ramps up his but this year he's not gonna, like, he can't be doing that, dude.
You don't have time.
His teammate's already in another zip code, dude, mailing him a postcard from the top of the box.
Yep.
It's crazy. Yep. And then and we can't, Mr. Alex Marquez, the little brother, he was missing a bunch of wings at the end of the race too. That dude was punting dudes left and right, man, including his brother. Like, holy shit.
It was He was on, and he's been second place to his brother almost the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, dude's right there.
He's taking shots, dude, at everybody. He don't care, dude. He just has it. And it's kind of strange because that guy and Morbidelli, both of those guys, I mean, we talk shit about them. Okay, I talk shit about them on our show, right? Like, dude, why do these guys still have a ride? And then this year they're like, hey, we still know how to ride.
Yeah.
So, like, were their bikes just that shit before? Like,
maybe it's just I think Michelin went through a new carcass on their rear or something or other, and they were starting to get used to it, and they're, the different factories are figuring out, or different teams are figuring out how to get that bike to work. But
there's no replacement for the experience Marquez has, especially in a scenario like that. He's gonna know what to do. The other guys can't figure out what to do.
Right.
Exactly, because he's gone through Bridgestones and Michelin's and all that. So,
and then they're all going to be on Pirellis at some point, right?
2 years.
Yeah, 27, right?
Yeah, it's going to be new bike, new tires.
New tires, yeah. Do you think there will be a different cream at the top when they make those changes, or do you think it's still going to be like the same old Marquez at the top and everyone else?
It'll upset the order for sure, just because they're all going to be kind of starting over with development and changing things. Different tires work differently on different chassis. And they're going to have to, at that level, adapt to, the tire has a lot of flex. The Pirelli's not going to come in there and make a Michelin tire,
Right.
Pirelli has their processes that they know work. So it'll be interesting. And we saw it in Moto2, right?
Right.
It took a second.
Yeah. And Moto3 too. I mean, like even all the way down to like the junior level, like all those guys were having troubles with the Pirellis at first because they, the Pirellis have a little more flex than the stiff Dunlops, so you got to learn how to ride the wiggle, right?
Yeah. Well, and then, there's also like politics and games that come into play where, I've run across it many times in my career, but I knew better, right? Like, they tell me when I was in World Superbike, they're like, oh, you got to run, 2.3 bar in the front tire.
Right.
I can't ride it at 2.3 bar. I've been on Dunlops for the last 10 years. And I found it by accident at a track day when I was like, damn, this thing's actually feeling really freaking good. We were testing Pirellis, getting ready to go over there.
Yeah.
And I came in and I checked it on my gauge, which I knew my gauge was right. And it said 47 PSI. And I was like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever thought of that. 47 PSI in the front tire.
Oh, shit.
But it worked.
Yeah.
And then when I went over there, they tried to get me to run less. And guess what? I tucked the front and crashed.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm not listening to you guys. I'm running what I want to run. And so I ended up kind of standardizing on 43, 44 hot off the warmer. And it worked. And Yates did the same thing when we were teammates. And then both of us stopped tucking the front end everywhere. Destroying bikes, So
because the
carcass sometimes.
Because the carcass was so much stiffer on the Dunlops, in order to give you a similar feel, you had to basically pressure it up to almost a bowling ball to get it.
Yeah.
All right.
And it could handle it. The tire could handle it.
I thought I was rocking a lot with 38 PSI in the front. I was like, man, that's a lot, dude.
Also, you got to take into account the bike. So the EBR at that time was more like a Moto2 chassis. It's extremely rigid and extremely stiff. So it compounded the problem more so than the other bikes that had been running on Pirellis all that time. The whole bike was designed around Dunlop. So there's another thing. Once you change one thing, you change 10 things sometimes. So you have to really be analytical of every little thing and what you're doing.
Yeah. That reminds me of we did a series on that MotoSpec chassis software stuff. And I mean, it's very nerdy, way over my head, most of it. But I mean, it tells you, it has the bike out there and the geometry, and it tells you what changes do to the bike on the geometry side. So the difference even between Dunlops and Pirellis is a pretty massive swing in the way the chassis is with the numbers, So it's just shit.
You can get caught up in that too. So,
oh, dude, you can get in the weeds with a lot of stuff, right?
So you're looking at the back tire and it's 10 millimeters larger, right? Let's say that's what it was back then. It was 10 millimeters, 12 millimeters bigger in diameter. But guess what? The Pirelli flexes more. So at full lean angle, they equal out or actually go the other way. So you can get caught up in the numbers going, oh, I got to adjust the chassis by 10 millimeters.
Right.
Well, when it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Not when it's in the corner where it matters, where it's how it's turning, where it's turning, going. So people can not look at everything objectively enough,
Right.
and get caught up in the numbers and not see the whole picture. So, I've seen a lot of guys do that, get spun out, be like, oh, well, the numbers are right.
Did you go through drama with the rim brake?
That was a constant progression of engineering, and it came down to, Eric Buell and I had many conversations about it. It's like, hey,
how colorful were those conversations?
Some of them were very, at the end of the day, it's like, hey man, you're paying my salary. If you want to stick with this, we'll stick with this, and we'll go as far as we can with it because you pay me. I'm your guy.
Right. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's a marketing thing. Racing's marketing, right?
Oh, 100%.
It's marketing. So that's one of the key features that made the Buell very unique, right? Stand out. But it presented a huge design and engineering challenge at the limit. 99% of the people that ride that thing aren't going to take it to that limit where it becomes a problem.
Right.
And so for the majority, it's actually a better engineered braking system, and it allows the bike to turn so much better, because we compared it at the time. It was I want to say the 1199 or 1099, whatever the Panigale was, with the highest end one with the Brembos and the light wheels. Our front braking system and wheel was 4.5 pounds lighter. So when you take that into account and steering and front end feel, you can't beat it. The bigger issue was once we figured out the rotors and got the rotors to stop warping from the heat. Warping. Yeah, because they're large. Like the bigger you get, we warp the rotors. Once we got past that, there were, multiple different things we did with materials. And instead of having holes drilled in, it had more of a sipes in it to clean the pad material. So we have even pad material on the rotor. But it was really good. The biggest problem is the brake pad manufacturers didn't want to work with us to design a brake pad for a motorcycle that was unique to the world, right?
Right.
You're not doing quantity at that point. And you've seen exactly that, because most of the sport bikes now all come with the same Brembo stylum caliper, and they all use the same freaking brake pad. It just makes things easier. So that was it became the limitation. And with that, even the weakness was at some racetracks, and not all racetracks, but the larger racetracks like Road America and some of the ones that had heavier, more sustained braking, we would melt the brake pads. We'd run out the brake pads.
You would melt the brake pads. Holy shit, dude.
I had in 13, I ran out of brakes, front brakes, with 2 laps to go. Like no brakes on the front. Wow. I was using rear brake only and engine braking to finish the race, and pulled into a stop in the pit box. The pads welded themselves to the rotor because it was backing plates. So it was stainless. It was steel on steel. It welded itself. Couldn't move the bike off pit road.
Oh, jeez.
You're stuck.
That's insane. That is insane, dude.
But that was, a lot of people don't. That was my job, though, right? That was the whole reason I went there.
Right.
I was hired was as an R&D development rider, which doesn't really exist much anymore, but to advance the bike and make it the best it could be.
So there's been some talk about Top Rack.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, I've seen
Trevor.
Of course, the weird Honda guy is bringing it up too, but there's been some videos and stuff. You want
Motorsport?
Go down that road, dude. Hit it.
Yeah, so I'm going to shout out Motorsport Republica, the Aussies that we still need to do a podcast with that they agreed to. They were having a discussion about Honda bringing in Top Rack next year, because his contract's up at BMW this year, bringing him in next year to the Honda World Superbike team, just so they could use him to develop the GP bike, to develop their GP bike for 27. So they were going to give him a head start with Pirelli tires on the GP bike and start working towards 27, and then that's it. Because he would be the only one that knows Pirelli tires at that point, and they could pretty much get him to ride the GP bike, which I thought That's
Trevor's saying that Acosta's going to be on that team as well.
It's a possibility too. They could pick him up.
Do you think that Pedro Acosta feels like he got gypped because, like, you know, the whole bankruptcy thing and all that?
Well, the bike was Chatter City.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of the season. And
Right.
nobody's been able to ride it until somehow Maverick and Tech 3.
Captain Qualifier and the guy that's like the
mad scientist Guy Coulon.
Yeah, the guy that blows up engines on purpose on TV.
That dude is awesome. I love that guy. I call him Doc Brown because he reminds me of Doc Brown from Back to the Future because his hair is all crazy and he's just like a mad scientist. But yeah, crazy French guy.
So the other topic was Jorge Martin, the world champ. That guy basically has missed the whole season. Comes out last weekend. He's like way behind the 8 ball.
But he's getting through the race, and he's doing okay.
And then he ends up on the ground and hurts himself again.
Yeah.
Like, first weekend back, he's already injured again. Like, should he have just stayed home and healed up? Like didn't Marquez give him advice to do just that? Because he can't.
Well, and he did. But he did. He healed up. He was solid and ready to go. Like, you think he did like an extra round that he stayed home, and then dude just
bad luck.
Got a little too hot at that turn 4 or whatever at LaSalle, and then just scatters it and breaks. He fractured like 6 ribs.
The curving, there's a lip there, right?
Yeah.
So I guess there's like there's some rules about testing and stuff, and I was reading up that they were kind of trying to lobby the series to lift that for if you're injured and you're out, because everybody else has gotten to ride and race. If you've been out and you miss a few rounds, like you're way back. So, what do you think about that? Geoff, do you think that they should allow them to test more?
I mean, in that scenario, 100%. I mean, you don't want guys coming back that are, coming back from injury. You're relearning your body, right? And to go straight into the fire of competition, man, you need to be able to go out there with your team and, get the feel. There should be like a limitation on it, but they should at least be able to go out and get some testing in prior to, a day or two at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should give the non-Ducatis all extra testing time.
Yeah, they already do because nobody's been winning anything. Right. So they already got their unlimited testing and concessions.
The concessions and all that. Yeah, and they're still not quite there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you got to think, okay, this is MotoGP, the highest level of racing on the planet. Right. Dudes are at
have unlimited testing. It's GP. It should be unlimited shit.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just saying for the
unlimited budget, like, let's go.
For the broken guy who needs to get back on the horse, like, he should get some time because
100%.
Now he's way down here. These dudes are just getting better and better and better, and he needs to kind of be. He needs to at least be here. We're not saying, hey, so you can be up at the front, but at some point he's got to be able to be in the mix.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's sad watching the world champion roll around with a number 1 plate on his bike at like 16th.
Dude, he was in 20th at one point.
Dude, I know.
It was brutal, but he's trying to get the confidence.
You were commenting too, like, they had that slow-mo where they're like talking about his wrist angle in the corner and how he gets way down. They're like, see, right now he would already be on his shoulder in the corner.
Yeah.
and his wrist is straight, so his elbow's out and dragging first before the shoulder. It's like, what? Yeah. Are you glad that you missed that era of racing, Geoff?
No. He was the first guy to get his elbow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But shoulders, dude. Shoulders.
Yeah, shoulders is a whole nother level, man. Like, but you got to look at those bikes, and the lean angle isn't really that much farther. Like, we would see on the data 62 degrees, 61, 62. So what are they doing? 64 degrees when their shoulders are dragging. Yeah. But the bike is 100 and something pounds lighter. It's not a super bike. I mean, it's got more grip. It's lighter. It can lean it over farther.
Yeah. So it's like, it's
100
pounds lighter and 100 more horsepower.
Well, and I also think with the arced curbing, and the tracks down here, you got a little bit more to get your shoulder down. So, it's a raised curbing, so it's just that much closer to the rider, especially at Catalunya, right? Because that one corner is like really high,
right?
And they're getting all up on the curbing. So
we have the same thing at Barber. I saw a picture of maybe Claudio Corti when he was here. He would ride that way, and there was a picture of him with his shoulder on the curb at Barber.
So yeah, like I said, are you stoked that you missed out on the shoulder drag move?
I think my body's made for that, man.
Like if you drag the shoulder back in the day, right? Like there's other things dragging.
People told me I was doing it all wrong. I remember back then they're like, dude, why are you dragging your elbow on a 1000? You're supposed to point and shoot that thing. You're way too leaned over.
Yeah.
Like, but then everybody ended up gravitating that way. So, I mean, Spees and myself and a few others were dragging elbow back in 05, 06, everywhere. Right. So
how much, a lot of weight is on the internet is spent, and words about riding are spent on body position. Like how deep into the body position discussion have you gone? Like how important is body position compared to everything else?
Well, I mean, is
it in the top 5 important things to you?
You know what? I'll tell you what it is. Here's where it lays with me, and this is for every rider. Is in the first 4 years you're track daying or racing or really doing it. It's going to take you that long to figure out what your body position is. Everybody's built different. You have to find what feels right because you can't be thinking about your body position while you're riding. It has to become a natural kind of art form. And, you see it. You see some guys hang way off. Some guys kind of hang off. And then you have like these dudes like my old teammate Michael Barnes and Larry Pegram and some other guys that sit damn near bolt upright on the thing and stick their knee way out. And they go fast as hell, man. They're out there winning races. So which is it? You tell me. For me, it's more about the rider. The rider's got to develop their own style and what works for them, and then the chassis and the bike around that allows them to do what they see in their mind, So
are you saying that you wouldn't put a lot of weight in the ideas coming from a coach who's trying to coach a rider from looking at a picture?
Yeah. I wouldn't take a ton of weight from that because the picture is very subjective. You're getting a glimpse of like millisecond in time, Right. Now, if it's a video, I can watch somebody riding on a video. I'm going to call somebody out here. And it's not about their riding position.
Name names.
I'm going to name names. It's someone Ricky Bobby, but I felt like if I said something to him, it would help him. I was watching him at Barber. So it was Jesse Ruling.
Oh, yeah.
Watching Jesse. And
Jesse who?
Ruling.
Okay. Jesse Ruling. Was he 990?
Yeah, 990. He's teammates with Jason Waters.
Okay.
So I'm watching him. I'm like, man, like his body position was okay, but he's a bigger dude. So you're looking at him, you're thinking, man, he needs to get off the bike more. He needs to get off the bike more. You hear that a lot, right? That body position. He's too upright on the bike. No, he needed to be more aggressive with his body. Was the issue I saw with his lap time is like, okay, he's not comfortable enough to really muscle that thing around and move his body on the bike. Like he just was kind of stuck. Right. He looked stuck on the bike.
Yeah.
But the actual position is fine.
Yeah.
Dude, you got to move around.
Would you say him stuck to the bike? Would that be like Jake Zimke has told me he's got a term. He calls it being behind the bars. Bro, you're behind the bars. You need to get more aggressive.
Aggressive. Yeah, I mean, you have to be ahead of the motorcycle and what it's doing instead of sitting on it and letting it dictate what's happening to you.
So you're saying that you don't want to be a passenger on your own motorcycle.
Do not be a passenger on your own bike.
Right on.
I got Trevor says he said the new suit and airbag was choking him out. He always looks like that. I've seen him in a race. I like Jesse. He's a good dude. But that's the next level of the progression of someone's riding, right? Like,
Yeah.
you got to find that next level of aggressiveness on the motorcycle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, the discussion, the reason why I asked you that is because, I do a lot of track days. I host one. I have a lot of people come in from the internet, bringing their internet bullshit to the track. And, it's like the C group, when we poll them in the class, what they think the most important thing is, based on what they've read on the internet, they think body position's the most important thing. And they pretty much think that until some old guy with a passenger on the back passes them sitting upright. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's
like,
so
dude,
dynamic, right? Like riding a motorcycle fast, there's a 1,000 things.
Yeah.
And you're out there learning, man. But
yeah,
I see the other side. I've taught some guys where they hang off the bike too much.
Oh yeah.
That's you're wasting energy. You're using a lot of energy to hang that far off the bike, and you're not putting enough weight into the chassis. So the tires are not being stressed enough. So you can't feel what's happening. The tire needs to be flexed. And you got to have that.
Well, like the things that you see at the track day, right? You see, like I see, it's always the B group guy. Sorry, it's always the B group guy because they're kind of fast, but haven't quite figured out why yet, right? And they're always they're it's like they're setting themselves up to try to drag their elbow, so they end up like 15 foot off the apex, going way slow offline, and they're holding the throttle with like the tip of their fingers, like on the outside of the tweezer grip, right?
Tweezer grip.
Oh, geez.
Dude. And I mean, it's like, dude, I'm sitting behind him on like a stock R7, and I'm like, wow, dude, like he's way out there, isn't he? Huh. So yeah, it's the body position discussion is always shocking to some of them when you make them discover that that's not the number one thing, or even like the top 5 things. So
if anything, it's find what's comfortable for you,
right,
and just show a little bit of aggression, or at least intent on what you're doing with the bike, with your body.
Yeah,
and honestly, it really comes down to get your feet in the right position to allow your hips to open up.
Dude, that when I first went to the Yamaha school, Yamaha actually sent me there when like early days of champ school. So I spent 3 days in Utah with those guys, and it was a blast, whatever. But one of the things is, I raced a long time, and I club raced, won some races, won some championships and stuff. And then I go there and they moved my feet. And I was like, holy shit, like how have I been riding all this time? And like, what? Right? Like, I mean, you'll listen to those guys and it'll be like, oh yeah, it'll change your life. But dude, it did. Cause like from then on, that was the big thing. And it totally, like, where you put your feet makes it's like saying so simple, but like where you put your feet makes such a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Human beings learn by mimicking in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
You can look at the guys that are doing it well.
Yeah.
Take a little bit from each of them and try it.
Right.
Like you said, foot position, body position, handlebar position, try, and you'll get those continual light bulb moments where you're like, oh, wow, this is game changer. And then you go a little bit faster, and then you try the next thing, and then you go a little bit faster. There's no shortcutting the process.
Right.
Everybody, in the society we live in, wants this instant gratification, instant answers, instant.
Right now.
No, it doesn't work that way. You're learning something that is so dynamic, and so much is happening, and happening so fast that it's fucking dangerous. Like, go out there and spend some time doing it. Pay your dues. It takes time. I've never seen anybody get really fast in anything shorter than 3 years, 4 years. And that's doing it like every race weekend.
And well, that's when they figure out they can't afford it. Right? That's how that rate of attrition goes in there, right?
Or they get hurt and they quit, It's one of those things seems to always happen.
Yeah. And I got a comment in there. Sean Summers is saying, well, it's because also people are so soft these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of truth to that too, because there's not a whole lot of warriors like this guy was doing back in the day out of a van doing the nationals, out of a pickup truck with no canopy. right?
No canopy.
Hell or high water, man. I was gonna make it happen. You know, it was sheer raw determination and a lot of luck, and a lot of good people helped me out that saw that. You know, it's unfortunate that doesn't exist anymore. You know, the opportunities aren't there the way they were. If someone was to do what I did now, they'd just go broke and hurt themselves.
Or get really lucky, like winning the lotto, right? I mean, it's just unfortunate, you know, the money is just not there. You know, it's like the roadmap for opportunities. You know, this is why we do this crap. You know, we want to bring light onto the sport, and we have to speak about it in an honest way. You know, I mean, I know I was telling you guys before the show started, you know, there was a couple of race weekends out here. So I think one of the mistakes some of the clubs out here are making is scheduling events on the same weekend as each other. Like, you guys are within 5 hours of each other, and you're going to have a race weekend on the same weekend. Bright idea, right? So, you know, and both clubs kind of took a bath from what I understand. Like, it was pretty low numbers. So, thoughts on that kind of stuff?
I think that their hands are tied, you know, with the competition to get track time these days, right? Like, they don't really, they can't just pick exactly when they get the racetrack, you know, and a lot of that stuff from what I've seen is kind of legacy. Like, if they've had that weekend, then the tracks will let them or honor them having it again next year at that same time. It's easy. So there's so many track days, especially if you look at the 4-wheel side that eat up track time.
Right.
2-wheel guys. But I agree. I've run across it so many times where it's like, dude, you guys are idiots. Why are you butting up against each other on the same weekends?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I think they should kind of, you know, because there's 3 clubs out here. There's basically AFM, CRA, and then that Chuckwalla club, CVMA. And for whatever reason, whatever CVMA is doing, they are absolutely murdering. Like, they are just, dude, it's like their club weekends are like the old Willow ones. Like, it's like a national. And, like, you know, a good time from, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, a good time wouldn't get you 15th today. It's crazy. But then you go to the other 2 clubs. AFM used to be arguably one of the most competitive clubs in the country. And man, I think Chuckwalla's taken that title from them for that, you know?
Well, you got guys like Jason Uribe and Kettleson and
Alexander
and Cornbow and all those guys.
Owen Williams.
All those dudes are all hanging out. That's his name. What am I going to say?
Dude, I know it's his name, but it's funny that was such a thing, you know?
Yeah. So,
Do you know about that, Jeff? Bryce, do you know who Bryce Prince is?
Yeah, I know Bryce Prince.
Well, his real last name is Cornbow. And there was a lot of talk about that last weekend because that was the first time Bryce was out in public and they were referring to him as Cornbow. But Prince was the last name of his stepdad. And for those of you that don't know, his mom threw that guy out like 15 years ago. Like, that guy's been gone from the picture for a while. So, like, you know, he had that name when he was growing up and stuff, but like, he hasn't seen that guy in 15 years, has zero to do with that guy. Why is he going to run around with that dude's name on his leathers and stuff? Right?
All of a sudden.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's part of the thing there, and you know,
maybe he's going incognito now, man. Like,
maybe
I should come back with my middle name on my back of my leather.
Dude, talent comes calling your name, bro.
Right? I know Sean Summers was asking about what is Geoff May doing these days.
Yeah.
Well, I had to retire to get a real job because the industry got to a point where, and my age at the same time, right? Because the older you get, opportunities start drying up. At 43, decided to retire on a high note at Road Atlanta, which is where I did my first pro race. So I figured call the shot, do my last pro race there, and walk away gracefully. You know, it was 25 years. I'm still walking. I'm still fast. Thought that would probably be the way to go, and had a really good opportunity to sustain me and my family for the next 15, 20 years or until I retire for real.
Yeah.
I had to explore it. And so I'm a manufacturer rep in the security industry. So I have Georgia as my territory, and it was a big learning curve, honestly, as far as learning the tech side of it, IT side of it. It's not in my wheelhouse. Representing a company is, and speaking about a product is, that's, had a lot of training. We used to have training back when I was a Suzuki factory rider, with marketing and things. So that's all been very helpful, signing autographs, being on the podium, being on TV, learn how to speak to people. But I knew I couldn't race and do that at the same time, because my heart is in racing. I love racing so much that my mind shifts back to it. I've got ADD bad. So even when I'm trying to do my work, I start thinking about racing. I'm thinking about Road Atlanta. I'm thinking about the next race, or when am I going to get to be on the track again, And so I had to leave it. I use the analogy. I tell people, it's like, you're at Vegas and you win a bunch of money. You got to know when to get up and walk away from the table, because it may give you everything you have, but it can also take away everything you have. And I started to see that happening, unfortunately, in my life, where a lot of people are like, maybe you're holding on to something that's not there anymore. No matter how fast you are, it doesn't matter. It's not there. Nobody's going to give you $100,000, $150,000 salary and bonuses.
Right.
And I watched it happen over the years. The salaries go down, the endorsements go down, and for everybody, right? It's not me, it's everybody. Josh Hayes is dealing with it. I'm sure he could tell you, a lot about the way it was and where it is now.
Right.
There's
nobody today making Matt Mladen money.
No, and that's the really shit part of it for a lot of us is we were the next guys. Like, in 2009, when Ben Spies left to go to World Superbike, I was supposed to get his ride. Like, that was my ride. And the whole DMG thing came around, and the Jordan thing with National Guard, and I pivoted with it, thinking that was the way. Like, they're bringing these NASCAR sponsors in, and so I went with the National Guard route, and I got a taste of it. We were right there on the coattails of the next guys, and then the housing crash happened, and everything went to shit. And it's been a slow bleed. It's never come back. So
I mean, you see signs of it kind of giving a taste of coming back. You see some new money come into the pits, and then it kind of fizzles out like almost as quick as it came in.
Yeah, I mean, you get these guys. I've seen a bunch of them come through with money, and they have these grand delusions of.
You said delusions.
They're delusions, man. They think I'm going to come in and win championships, and sometimes they do. But then what? Okay, cool. Right. You won 2 championships, and they go, well, nothing happened. We won 2 championships, but rich dudes get sick of spending money sooner or later.
It seems like that's a movie that we've seen over and over and over again in the United States racing, right? I mean, over the years, obviously in recent history, we could talk about, was it Fresh and Lean is one of them, right? And then who's the other ones? What else? Mean Motorsports. That's another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ridiculous guys.
Ridiculous guys.
Right.
Team Norris.
Like, those guys come in and it's like big flash and lots of money. Yeah, Johnny Rock Page. But there's that like massive thing that happens, and they come in, their guns a-blazing, and then they fizzle out. Like, billionaire, Top Pro from last year. Like, those guys came out swinging, solid rider, and then then what? The guy moved, he's doing something else now. So
that's the sad state of it, is because it's like, and for me in the twilight of my career, I saw it. It's like, well, there's nothing to be gotten. Even if you win a Superbike championship, there's only short-term, small financial gain.
We need. I'm seeing Sean Summers. You gonna read Sean Summers' comment?
We need more drug money.
We need more drug money, dude. That's right.
We need manufacturer money. We need an industry like all the other industries. Look at golf. Look at tennis. Look at freaking volleyball. I don't care what it is. and look at the industries that back them. And, you know, it's an industry as a whole. You have clothing manufacturers, a lifestyle, and they back it. They back the competition, whereas we don't have that.
Right.
You know, the companies,
like they look at us like a line item.
Look at the line item. And you got companies like, okay, so Evoltech is a great company, right? They don't have the money to back it more than they already are, or even a Vortex, you know, or even Graves. You know, even the big ones don't have the financial backing to truly get behind the sport the way it needs to be. Or
that's what Graves is out.
Manufacturers did.
Chuck Graves straight up told me, he's like, dude, if they wrote me a check, I'd be in, but I'm not doing it on my own dime.
Yeah, I'm going to go burn money in a garbage can, you know?
Yeah.
The manufacturers carried the sport through the whole time I came up. And then you see it, you know, every once in a while. I wish they would all come together. Honda's making a really good effort right now. But
you know, Harley and Indian.
We need Yamaha doing it. We need Cowie doing it. We need them all doing it at the same time, the way that Indian's doing it with Harley, right? Like that wouldn't even exist if Harley and Indian weren't factory backing baggers. They'd disappear in a heartbeat because people can't afford to build those motorcycles and race them.
Yeah.
The Superbike needs the same thing.
Yeah, I like to see that. I mean, I know that our team is, you know, everybody calls us, you know, the Attack guys, the factory team, but the reality is they're the factory representative team.
Yeah, subcontracted team.
Yeah, like, you know, I know I don't know what the money looks like or anything like that. I don't know the specific details. Richard's not gonna share that with me, and I wouldn't ask. But I'm pretty sure that they're not spending as much money as they were when they were doing it in house.
No, not even
not even fractions.
Not even a fraction. The riders made more than the whole team has right now.
Right. And you know, I can remember back in the day, the Yamaha had 2 rigs. They even had a hospitality rig. Like the rig's whole job in life was to cook everybody lunch and breakfast and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's none of that. There's none of that in the paddock right now. So I think it's cool to see some new semis in the paddock. You know, it's like, oh, cool, nice little brush of life. You know, fresh blood and fresh meat. We'll see how it goes.
I didn't know you were going to be a bitch. That was a good story. It's good to see Strack Racing in there.
Yeah,
and you know, a couple other teams, and they're doing it right.
I feel like the series needs to do a better job for those guys. You know, especially the guys that have been putting the money up the last few years. What Stamboli's been doing, the Ulrichs have been doing. You know, what Honda's now doing. They need to get more behind it. The numbers don't work again, right? So the money in World Superbike is way bigger as far as the premier entrant. The premier entrant needs to be higher, and the expenses need to be lower. You know, the spec tire thing doesn't work in America. I'm sorry. You know, Moto America is benefiting, and the teams are not from that. It's too expensive.
Well, I think the premier money that they are paying is coming out of that. You know, I think Dunlop basically is funding the whole thing. It sounds like.
Right. Why don't you open it up to 3 different manufacturers and make them all pitch in?
Yeah.
And then they could have each have 3 fronts and 3 rears that they're allowed. They're the spec for that brand. You know.
Then you could run like a one brand front tire and another brand rear tire.
No, because you wouldn't get the sponsorship money or the free tires if you did that.
But you could do that.
You could.
Yeah.
I've done that before.
Yeah. I'm not saying I want to do that. I'm just saying that you could, right?
Yeah. No, I think that would be a major game changer for Moto America if they could wrap their heads around doing, you know, homologating tires and allowing all the manufacturers that want to be there to be there. It drives development. It drives support for the teams. I'll throw you a little tidbit. So back in 2007, I'm not going to name the team, but there was a team that got $250,000 from said manufacturer. And not only did they get $250,000 from said manufacturer, they got all their tires for free, which were over 1,000 tires for the season. And not only did they get that, they got top 5 bonuses on top of that in all the classes they got. So when you took that away from the teams, look at the gaping hole that left in their budget. And not only did they leave a gaping hole, now they have a $40,000 or $20,000 budget for each rider.
Right.
And like it's asinine.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I would suspect that if that was the tire thing was a open tire rule kind of thing, I suspect that our team would probably be a Pirelli team, just based on history. You know, M4 was a Pirelli team as well, but they were a Michelin before that. You know, because it's easier to go racing. It's easier to afford to go racing when you're getting your tires covered.
And you had the alignment. I was there for the switch. Now, John asked me, it happened when I was there, 05, my first year of the team.
Yeah.
He's like, well, how do you feel about riding Michelins? It's like, if you're on Michelins, I'll ride Michelins.
Right.
If you're on Pirellis, I'll ride Pirellis.
Right.
I have no preference. I don't care. Whichever one's going to benefit the team, whichever one's the better deal.
Right.
And with that, they got a better deal with Pirelli because of the engineers that came with it and worked with us hand in hand to develop the tires week in and week out to make them better.
Yeah.
You know? And then Dunlop was doing the same thing on the other side. Once Pirelli started to be a factor, they had to up their game, and it was better for everybody, the whole health of the paddock.
I've heard this many times, and I've heard many writers talk about it, but Sean Summers in the comments is saying, you know, Tire Warriors would bring back more racers. You know, they're not going to charge setup on the bikes. You know, they don't want to change setups.
Change.
Yeah. The biggest the biggest expense of a Moto America weekend for a privateer, or even myself, what I did the last few years was tires. You're $2,500.
Wasn't the travel
$2,000? No,
because I mean, for teams,
for the team, yes, because you got a lot more rooms, a lot more flights, and that stuff. But if you're talking about having big, healthy grids. You know, and then with the bigger teams, though, they're getting bigger tire deals. Like the one I spoke of was a B team. That wasn't even an A factory team.
Right.
So I didn't know what the factory teams were getting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and everybody's buying tires right now. I mean, I know Richard swipes the card at the end of the weekend. You know, it's like, I don't even want to know. You know,
I did the whole
12
series.
12 tires, $3,400. We'll multiply that times 2 or more.
2022, I did the whole series, right? The whole Moto America series with the Honda, and my tire bill at the end was $32,000 to do 10 rounds, 9 rounds, 10 rounds. I can't even remember, but
it was 9 rounds and 2 races around.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there's something to that, man. Like who's going to listen to this though? Like this smart discussion that we're having.
Right.
Right.
No. Hey, listen, we got enough people. Get the word out. I know Trevor's going to be advocating.
Trevor's advocating for the tire change stuff. But let's just be real. You know, we want to keep Superbike going and not go race stock bikes.
Yeah.
Like leave Superbike. Supersport is getting very miniature Superbike now. Right.
Very. Very. I couldn't go race a Supersport bike if I wanted to. It costs too much.
Yeah.
And the return's even smaller. You know, it's.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We got some stuff going on. We got Road Atlanta in a couple weeks. Ricky, Bobby, and I are going to be there walking around.
Let's do it.
I've got some stuff. I have a bunch of these. So I'm going to bring some to Road Atlanta, but I've got some Gagne numbers because he switched to the. Richard hates it when I call it this, but Smurf blue, like the baby blue or whatever number plate. So I've got the R1 front number plates for Jake Gagne. And
well, you got to get those signed. You got to get those signed. You should get them signed.
I'll get them signed. I'll hang on to them. I just grabbed them from the shop yesterday.
Yes, go get them signed.
Long ones, man.
Yeah.
Oh, well, because he hasn't changed his color. Like he likes his orange, so. If he changes his color, or if we have a bunch at the left over, we could do that.
Yeah.
You know, like we had some from our former writer that I gave away a bunch of them. And then, you know, his dad ended up getting the last couple of them. Peterson's.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got that going on. Maybe Geoff will join us at Road Atlanta if he's around.
Yeah.
I'd like to come out there for a day.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bring my leathers in case somebody falls down, unfortunately.
Break glass in case of emergency, rider. You never know, man. I saw a lot of riders been doing that. They've been showing up and like ready to go just in case. Yeah, I saw
It's the quickest way to get back in it, man.
Lamandry. I saw
Joe Lamandry, yeah.
Dude, that kid's so talented and he doesn't have a ride. So fucked.
Yeah.
You know, Eli too. Eli Block. That dude doesn't have a ride.
Brandon
Talented
Posh.
dude. Posh doesn't have a
BP.
ride. It's like how much talent it doesn't have a ride and they're not in the pits this year.
A lot.
Because it goes back to money again. All the teams are stretched for money. So anybody that can come in and say, "Hey, my uncle's cousin's brother knows somebody at this company and they're willing to throw some money at the team," you know, that they're going to get the ride. Talent's not unfortunately isn't the deciding factor anymore.
So you're going to have to like spend some longer time in retirement and then come out like in your 50s and race Supersport like Pegram did last year. Right?
And I'll tell you, Josh Hayes has got mad respect for me, man. He's got me thinking, man.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could make some phone calls. I mean, obviously your ADD would kick in. Right?
Well, I'm established now. It's been a year and a half, so I think I got things covered. I got people now.
All right.
It's only the stock schedule looked killer, man. I was really close to doing something this year for Stock 1000. First three tracks are probably my top three favorite tracks. I was like, man, that's in the Honda money. Yeah, so close.
Yeah, Trevor Watson says the bike almost needs to qualify versus the rider. Like if a rider qualifies on Friday and gets hurt Saturday morning warm-up, the team can still fill the backup rider for the sponsors. So,
maybe something where they can do a
maybe scumbag your way into a seat, bro. What? No.
Oh man.
No, he's not doing that, dude. He's gonna hang out and talk shit. It's gonna be cool.
With the leathers in the trunk.
Oh yeah, just in case. He's gonna come prepared like a Boy Scout, but he's gonna be hanging out in his flip flop and stuff. Right?
Is Trevor saying he needs me to come qualify his bike for him?
Oh!
I think that's what he is saying.
I'm hurt.
I think he needs that and some coaching too, maybe.
I think our leathers might be about. I could probably wear his leathers.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Dude, I'll be real. I'll be real with both you guys, and I'm talking shit right now, but like, dude, I saw Trevor last weekend. He's gonna need a lot of Crisco to get in his leathers. That's all I'm saying. Right?
Oh,
he's gonna have to Crisco up or butter up to get in that suit, bro.
Oh, come on, Trev. Come on, Trev. You can't take that from Dustin, brother.
Oh no, it's all good. Like, he'll say the same shit to me, dude. Like none of us are built like Peter Pan, dude. Right? So
show.
Right on.
Well, awesome. It's been a great show. Thank you, Geoff, for joining us.
Thanks,
really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to seeing everybody in a couple weeks.
So
let's go.
So what's up next?
I didn't even look at the schedule. We got some racing coming up.
TrackDaz on Friday at the new
circuit. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then next month we're doing a weekend at Podium Club. And we're doing the collab next month at VIR with the TAC.
Yeah.
Dude, Nicole from Moto America hit me up. So she was like, that's weird. I saw your name I saw TrackDaz at VIR, and that's weird.
Yep. And I'm hopefully we'll see. I gotta work on getting my bike ready to hopefully ride it at VIR, but we'll see.
You definitely need to be
a
staff dude.
I know, and that's where I'm trying to work on that. And I haven't gotten the email back from the UK on the wire harness yet, but hopefully.
Yamaha, dude. Yamaha. Just saying. So you know what? Thanks for everybody for watching this crap.
Thank you.
Mash all the buttons.
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe,
like, and all that. And I guess we'll catch you guys on the next one. Geoff, dude, I salute you, sir.
See you guys. Appreciate
it. Yeah.
Oh, we just bailed.